I'm still in Lombok, and tonight I'm staying in a place called Selong Belanak. It's a place in the southern area of Lombok, west of Kuta, the really popular area these days. And I've sort of upgraded my digs a little bit to a little, almost like a villa type thing. Nice place. It's costing me about 700,000 per night. Nice big bed, nice storage spot. Apparently owned by an Aussie guy. And this bathroom has got to be the cleanest bathroom you've ever seen, hasn't it? Nice little view to the world there. And yeah, basically what am I doing here? Well, I'm going to check out what this place is all about. So a lot of viewers on the channel have been telling me, you've got to come down here, it's the new place to go. But it also got me thinking about what people have been saying for a long time about Lombok, which is Lombok is the new Bali. You just wait 20 years, it's going to be like Bali. But people have been saying that for 30 years. So I sort of want to talk about that a little bit today as well, and give my thoughts on what I think's going on here from what I've seen so far and how that relates to Bali. So let's get stuck in and have a look at Selong Belanak. Beautiful little garden in this place. They give you access to free bicycle hire. Well, it's not hire, is it? It's like you get the bicycles for free to cruise around the town on if you're wanting to go down to the beach. The beach is about a kilometre walk. I'm going to walk it. I think you sort of see more if you go to these places on foot. So it's quite rural, actually, this area. This is one street back from the main road. So what sort of is attracting a lot of people to Lombok is that in many areas it's still very rural and still very undeveloped. And that's, I think, what people are sort of equating to what Bali used to be, underdeveloped. It's a really simplistic correlation, because actually all of Indonesia is like this. If you go to anywhere in Indonesia that's rural, you know, all the roads are busted up. Hello! All the roads are busted up. There's kids everywhere. Like each family's got like about 10 kids, and there's yeah, the roads are terrible. You're up, down, and mountains. That's sort of what I did today, coming here from where I was last night. And yeah, fantastic views around every corner. Stunning beaches around every corner. I mean, that is Indonesia everywhere. Lombok, of course, is close to Bali, and people have sort of been coming here to surf for a long time, as they have in Bali as well. But I mean, the differences just couldn't be starker. For example, culturally, totally different. Religious differences, huge. Even just the way that the place is sort of built is just totally different. Everything about it is just so different. And I'm gonna try to find out where I'm going here. Actually, I'll go up this road. I want to get to the main road. Yeah, they've got rubbish problems here too. There's a rubbish pile. Everywhere's got rubbish problems. I mean, this is just Indonesia. That's what I'm feeling so far. Like, the first sort of thing that I feel when I come to Lombok is that this is the real Indonesia. I love it, really do. But I just wouldn't compare it to Bali. Bali's a unique beast, you know? And just because you love Bali doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna love this place, and vice versa. For sure, vice versa. I mean, a lot of people who love Lombok don't really like Bali too much because it doesn't feel raw enough. And I can understand that, having sort of lived in Java for so long. I can understand the feeling about Bali in some ways, that it might not feel authentic enough. But for me, Bali's a great place to live. I love it. But I do like this place too. This southern coastline's been a surfer's paradise for decades now, and it's only really started to get developed over the past, I don't know, less than 5 years. Like, I mean, Kuta's been around for ages, hasn't it? Kuta, Lombok, but the rest of this sort of coastline's been sort of barren for such a long time, and it seems as though there is a heap of development happening right now. A heap of it. All along the road coming in, there is just new developments going in, new villas, new buildings, and it just seems to be really taking off in a big way, almost like Canggu did back in the day. Sort of stopping now. Oh, it's going up the coast a bit. It's sort of happening like that, and maybe word is getting out that this is also a really good place to visit. I guess the only issue is, what are you going to do when you come here? If you're a surfer, it's great. But if you're not a surfer, what are you going to do? I guess you could say the same thing about Bali as well. Like, what are you going to do in Bali if you don't surf? I don't know. Just hang out, and that's what, guess what people go to the beach. That's what people do here, I guess. The name of this town is quite odd. I didn't know how to pronounce it when I first got here, so I asked the guy at the reception. I said, look, how do you say it? And he said, Selong. So that's like a long E on the first word, and then Belanak on the second word. Almost sounds like Beranak, which is a normal Indonesian word. Maybe it comes from that, Belanak. On the map, I can already see there's a bunch of like cafes here that seem to be decent. I haven't had a proper coffee today. I've had a couple of instant ones, but I wouldn't mind to have a proper coffee, so I'm going to have a look for one of those. Susan says she's going to get on the bicycle and cruise around, so I might meet her up there. There's a little coffee shop. It's called Barang Coffee. Barang is together with. If you jalan kaki bareng orang lain, is to walk with another person. Yeah, interesting name for a cafe, I guess. So this is the main street. Like, this is basically it. You got sort of traditional houses, village-like houses in the background, and then you got a restaurant there, Pronto. Looks like it's just reopened here. We moved to here. Pronto, I guess they're doing pizzas. Yeah, there's the mosque right there. And yeah, it's just village life, isn't it? But I don't think that's going to be long for the world, because I can see so many buildings being built. This is going to get built out real quick. I can feel it. It has got a pretty good feel about it, to be honest, this little village. So the main intersection in town is just there, and I've basically walked the whole part of town. Yeah. Seen the odd foreigner get around with that helmet on and that sort of stuff, which is pretty standard stuff. This looks like a decent place here as well, like Naughty Surfer. I'll go and have a check of that one. All right, got myself a cappuccino. Looks pretty good, eh? That's 30,000 for that. Let's have a go at it.
Ah, mantap.
That is a good one. That is a very good one. Someone in the comments suggested I should put a little jingle on every time I taste and I'm assessing it. Just before I say, this is a good one, put a little jingle on there. So I might have to put that on the videos. Maybe I just did. What I'm sort of thinking about this place is that it's in the really early stages of some sort of tourism development. And so it's got a few rough edges, which feels nice. Still a bit rural. There's people of different ages coming here. The younger people that come here are probably coming here to relax or surf. There's not really much else to do. And that's a nice thing if you get a nice little hotel like I've got. And some of the older people are obviously coming here because they remember some parts of Indonesia they've been to in the past that feel like this. You can get out on a motorbike and cruise around quite easily and find some really nice viewpoints and beaches and that sort of stuff, which feel a million miles away from everywhere. I'm going to head down to the beach after I have a bite to eat, because I think it's going to be good. I do. I've got a pretty good feeling about this place. I'm sitting here with my new best friend. Sorry, I've forgotten your name.
My name is Dodi.
Dodi?
Yes.
How do I spell that?
T-O-D-I.
Oh, toddy.
Yeah.
It's like hot toddy.
Oh, exactly. Well, yeah, a lot of people like from America said, oh, yeah, you're a hot toddy.
Yeah, I bet you all the chicks say that too.
Yeah, I asked them, what's that? It's kind of a drink.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, it's not something I know of. I've heard that word. So you own this place?
Yes.
How long have you had this cafe for?
Actually, we just, the story is, I was in Bali working for 8 years as a surf coach, you know?
Yeah.
And I have a like an idea that I'm not gonna do like a surf coach for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
Then I try to save money. Then I'm thinking to have like a coffee shop, like, and you know, like kind of cafe. And then I save money, then I come home because I'm from here.
Oh,
I was in Canggu before.
Oh, you're orang Lombok?
Yeah.
Lombok mana?
Here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Local, a real
here,
local.
Yeah. I grew up here.
Ah.
I just worked in Bali for 8 years.
Yeah. Get your money and run.
Yeah, and then run away.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what everyone does. That's what I did. Yeah. It's a smart thing to do.
Yeah. Exactly. So last year I started to build, and then because the building was not that good that moment for me, because not like this, because we just opened it like 1.5 weeks ago.
Oh,
actually, yeah.
Wow, it looks good, mate.
Yeah, I renovate. Took a 2 months to renovation, and then we open again.
Right. So this is the Naughty Surfer hot toddy.
Yeah.
Like, come here. Like, this guy's a really cool guy. He's actually sitting here acting as if he's like working.
No, actually I was watching movie.
Watching YouTube.
Yeah.
And he's managing the staff and everything just to make sure everything works properly. So, thank you very much for being on the channel, mate.
Thank you. Actually, I'm not the boss. We're just working together.
Yeah, okay. The big boss. He's a big boss. He's just being a bit humble.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we've got our little chicken schnitty here. Susan gave me some chips from her dish. They look pretty good. Hand cut. Nice. All the veg looks to be like locally grown veg rather than frozen stuff. Lovely seasoning. Give this schnitty a go. There we go, beautiful. Looks good, like it's gonna taste good. All right, go and see Hot Toddy down at the Naughty Surfer Cafe, I think it's called. Yeah, pretty simple food, good coffee. I think the prices there seem to be a little bit cheaper than some of the cafes around the place. Some of the cafes that I've seen so far seem to be those real slick modern ones. And the prices on those places can be quite high compared to these more simple ones. Depends what you're into, I guess, doesn't it? There you go, look at those places like that. Acai bowls and coffee and all that sort of stuff. That's the go around here. I'm actually going to walk down to the beach because it's not far actually. You can walk all around this place pretty easily. It's fairly compact at this stage anyway. Like by the time you get here in a couple of years time, it might be booming and it might be sort of spread out, but at the moment it feels really compact. I can't imagine this changing too quickly, even though there is a lot of construction going on. I think it would take, between 5 and 10 years for this to change really dramatically. To be honest, what I'm feeling that people might be enamored with here in Lombok is just rural Indonesian life. And you get this all over Indonesia. So if you go through Java and you go to somewhere like Batu Karas, which is on the southern coast of West Java, you definitely get all this sort of vibe, this very, very rural Indonesian vibe like this. Little rice pile, sort of the rice harvest piles burning, kids playing, heaps of kids, people just hanging out and not doing much because it's so hot and having a bit of a cigarette and a coffee and that sort of thing. That's Indonesia. And that's what I love about Indonesia, and that's why I sort of, I feel something here as well. The other thing about Lombok that is so different to Bali is the soundtrack to Indonesia that you get outside of Bali. And the soundtrack to Indonesia outside of Bali is a mosque going off 5 times a day. Now, I don't mind it, but some people don't like it. Like, they find it very intrusive. And it can be depending on where your accommodation is located or how loud the mosque is. And sometimes the mosques are doing things that they're not really supposed to be doing. So a mosque in Indonesia has a volume limit set by law at 100 decibels. So you're not supposed to go any higher than 100 decibels, but it's not enforced. And there are certain rules about how long you can do your prayers for and all that sort of thing. And, sometimes people sort of push the rules, bend the rules a little bit. So if you don't like that, well, you're probably not going to like being in a place like Lombok, honestly. You're probably better off sticking to Bali, and especially in the southern areas where there are fewer mosques. I don't mind it. I mean, I've got some real cracker stories about mosques in Indonesia where I remember the first time I had a real scare from a mosque was in the town of Bukit Tinggi in Sumatra, West Sumatra. And I got a room and I didn't know it, like an old room, the old style ones with not really much insulation, no air conditioning, so it had the little slats to let in fresh air. Well, that window with all the slat windows sort of faced the mosque next door. And wow, Bukit Tinggi is quite famous for being quite staunch Muslims over there. And that mosque went off, and geez, the first time I heard it, I nearly jumped out of my skin. Gee, it was so loud. And in that particular case, I actually requested to move to the other side of the hotel because I didn't want to face the mosque. And that's what you sort of need to do, you just adjust. There we go, Halta Selong Belanak. That's a little bus stop there, which I reckon may never have been used. There's a few of those around. The soundtrack to Indonesia, you sort of get used to it after a while, and you start to sort of get into the rhythm of when the mosque goes off. It's supposed to go off about 5 times a day, and you if you're not too close to it, it doesn't really disturb you too much. Even during the night, you might either sleep through it or you might just wake up briefly, and it's fine. It doesn't bother me but I know it does bother some people. So that's one of the big reasons why I think Lombok will never become the same Bali. That's one of the big reasons, because Indonesia's like got 750,000 mosques in it, and not everyone enjoys the sound of the mosque. Hampir jatuh ya. I'm gonna go down here through this lahan kosong, see if I can get somewhere. Beaches down here. Probably shouldn't go this way though. Oh, the wall's all caved in. Okay, I'm gonna go across here, choosing the hard way to go. Through the lahan kosong, empty land. I could have just gone down, there's a road over there I could have gone down, but I just wanted to go the alternative way, and it turns out I'm in the middle of a field. I actually think calling Bali the new Lombok is actually a bit offensive to Lombok, because Lombok on its own has a really beautiful culture, has its own unique sites, totally different, almost like a different country. And to sort of call it the new Bali, like, oh, you used to go to Bali, now you go to Lombok, well, you can go to both. And I think that's the beauty of Indonesia, is that there are so many places where it is just like exploring a new world every time you go there. So, you know, I think we need to dismiss that sort of thing, which is Lombok is the new Bali. In fact, the government of Indonesia tries to promote different destinations as the new Bali. Quite often they'll do it officially. And I just think it's offensive to the place they're trying to promote, because no one wants to sort of play second fiddle to Bali. Now I'm walking around with my shoes on, so I'm going to have to get onto the beach with my shoes on, which is a little bit unfortunate, but here we go. So let's see what the story is down here at the beach. Oh, I'm walking through the back of a warung onto a white sand beach. Beautiful. All right, I got it. I'm going to show you this. This is a gorgeous beach. A gorgeous beach. Lined with warungs. Yeah. If you used to love Kuta Bali Beach, with that long stretch of sand, well, this one is something to love as well. Look at it. Goes for a few kilometres up that way. I might actually walk along here. Walking in shoes is not a big deal either, because the sand is quite compact. Obviously the waves sort of come up quite high during the high tide, and the water has now receded a bit. Wow, that is a beautiful beach, isn't it? A few surfers out there, a few of them learning, which is pretty cool. Apparently this is one of the places that you'd come if you wanted to learn how to surf. Apparently. The waves don't look much at the moment, but I'm sure at times they are pretty good. There is a little bit of rubbish around the place. There's not heaps of it. It's not like awash with rubbish, and it's not so bad that I wouldn't swim in it. But for me, those waves and everything look like a perfect swimming spot. Doesn't look too dirty, but there is a bit of rubbish around. The reason I say it is because I just noticed a guy back there, obviously a tourist, picking up plastic off the beach, and I thought, gee, it's an impossible mission. I mean, I give him big props for giving it a go, but you know, in Indonesia, it's almost impossible to keep on top of that rubbish program. Even when you've got armies of people, it just keeps coming down the rivers and into the ocean. It's all of a sudden gotten very dark, and it's starting to sprinkle with rain, and I hope I don't get caught in a torrential downpour, but that looks foreboding. I've got to say, it's an absolutely fantastic beach down here. Yeah, there is a bit of rubbish around, and that is a problem everywhere we go now in Indonesia. But it's just so beautiful. It's quite empty down this end. Like the main end of the beach is over there where those warungs are, and that's where sort of everyone sort of clusters around. And then down this end of the beach, there doesn't seem to be many people at all. I sort of had planned to walk to the end of the beach and then turn up inland somewhere, but we'll see how that goes. There's even a little beach across the little headland there that I can see a couple of people on. That looks absolutely beautiful. And then another pristine beach over there as well. So all along this coastline, it seems that there are just phenomenal beaches. And if you love the beach, I mean, it's going to be one of the good places to go, especially because the infrastructure is now sort of building up around it. It's not too busy, so it's not like a Thailand beach where it could be quite busy. but it has got something there for you in terms of infrastructure. I reckon this is one of those places that has enough tourism here now that you could employ a couple of people full time just walking up and down the beach, picking up rubbish, just to beautify it a little bit. I mean, it wouldn't be a big job for someone to do. If that's all they had to do is just walk up and down the beach all day, you know, it'd be pretty easy money for someone. And I reckon that's going to be your biggest drawback in most places in Indonesia right now, is the rubbish situation, because as we know, it's not good at all. One thing I can see up on the hills over there are heaps of sort of like mansion style places. They're obviously foreigner homes all throughout the area, you know, people who've decided that this is where they want to live. And especially over there, there's probably, I don't know, 50 sort of homes perched along the edge of the mountainside there with ocean views. And I reckon if you'd bought the land back in the day, it would have cost next to nothing. But I think now that'll be very expensive. You know, once a place has already started to be established, there's usually a land rush and it's too late. By the time that you find a place that you think, oh, I'd love to go there, it's already too late. You have to buy it when it's really just not popular at all and there's no facilities. And a place that you probably wouldn't want to live, and then over the years it gets developed slightly. That's probably where we're at now with this part of Lombok. I know that Kuta Lombok is apparently hugely developed these days compared to what it used to be. And this place, because it's sort of on the up and up, you know, prices are already going to be quite expensive, I think. I mean, I would love to live up on those hills over there. I would even be quite happy to live on the backside of the hills with a view inland. I wouldn't even need an ocean view. Like, I just would think it'd be nice. And especially if you're just within a short motorbike ride of the beach, some nice cafes, a few little restaurants. You can always go and get a pizza if you need one, rather than just eating full local food all the time. I'd probably enjoy that. I could easily see myself living in a place like this. That's not to say that I don't love where I live at the moment, which I do, but I'm just sort of like throwing it out there that there are other places out there in Indonesia that tick a lot of boxes, and this is certainly one of them. I think one of the big issues that's sort of keeping Lombok down a little bit is that there aren't that many direct flights here from overseas. It's actually quite hard to get here from overseas from most places. You have to connect through Singapore or what have you, and that just makes it just slightly more of a pain for a lot of people, especially like Australians aren't going to really want to come here as much because it's a little bit more difficult. Like, for example, if there was a direct flight from Sydney or Melbourne into Lombok, people would do a trip where it included Lombok and Bali, but because you sort of have to go to Bali first and then go across on the airplane to Lombok and then do your trip around Lombok and then go back, it's a bit of that little bit of friction. I mean, it's not much, it doesn't bother me, but it's a real pain point for someone who's going on holidays for 10 days. They don't want to have to deal with it. If you could fly direct in, I think that'd make a big difference. And I think until that happens, I think we're really going to find this place doesn't take off as much as it might do. All along here are these little shacks, little warungs that obviously the surfers would come down to and hang out at while they're waiting for the waves to sort of pick up a little bit. But I'm just surprised that there aren't that many people down here. So it's me, and then there's 4 foreigners there, and then a couple of locals. That's all there is, sort of for, maybe over a kilometre now when I look back down there. Have a look at this little beach. Isn't that a cool little beach? Looks a bit treacherous, I don't know if I'd swim there, but it's cute. I might see if I can head back to town along this little dirt road here. I think another thing that I've been thinking about now that I'm in Lombok here, I feel really comfortable here, cruising around, going into villages and that sort of stuff. But I know not everyone's going to feel comfortable like that. If you're really familiar with Bali and the way that sort of Bali is sort of built up and sort of there to serve you, Lombok in some areas is not really like that. This area is. I mean, you can come here easily and feel very welcome and served by the trade here. But it's not always like that in Lombok because it's it's a less developed island and there are pockets of real underdevelopment. And maybe if you're sort of thinking about exploring Indonesia a little bit more, maybe coming to Lombok's a good idea, where you can dip your toes into the things that are familiar, maybe Kuta, Lombok or Senggigi, or even this place, which I think's quite well developed these days. And then maybe go to a few less developed places, which are more rural and, might allow you to practice your language skills and get out there. You can even sort of base yourself at a place like this, which has got the tourist trade here, but then venture further afield on motorbikes, for example, or bicycles to some of those more remote beaches where you can, find an isolated warung or chat to a local in a local language and practice your Indonesian. Okay, which way am I going to go here? Do I go up there or up there? Don't know. My sense is telling me this is a shortcut, but I don't like that, because when my sense tells me a shortcut, I usually have to go through a swamp or cross a river without a bridge. So I'm hoping I have a clean run here. I can see looks like an old mosque over there. Doesn't look like it's in use anymore. We're going to have a look at that too. One of the key questions I have when I go to a new place in Indonesia these days is, has the Canggu crowd arrived here yet? And I'm not really feeling it in a big way, to be honest. There are a few of them around, but honestly, most of the younger people that I'm seeing are either surfers or they're doing sort of more of a budget trip around Indonesia or Lombok. They don't seem to be too sort of caught up with the self-image thing, which is good. All right, coming to a little road here. That's the mosque over there, I think. Just had a guy shouting at me saying I'm going the wrong way. So I'll just have a look at this and then turn around, because apparently in this direction is all rice fields. Can't get through. Ah, look at that. An old building. I think is it a mosque? It looks almost like a mosque, doesn't it? I wouldn't know. I'm not a mosque expert, but anyway, it's all destroyed inside. I won't be going in there. That looks a bit dangerous. I'm gonna get back up this way where that guy was sort of pointing, hey, go up that way, you're going the wrong way. Anyway, getting back to the story, I haven't so far in any place in Lombok felt the influencer crowd really. On Gili T you get them, but it's easy to avoid there as well, to be honest. You just go to the other side of the island and hide away, it's fine. Here in Lombok mainland, I haven't really felt it. Like, I've met a lot of younger people around that have seemed to be backpacking around the place, and just fine, not a problem at all. I'm also seeing a lot of middle-aged type people, like my age, cruising around with their partners on motorbikes and just having a look around a bit, which I think is pretty cool. So I think we're at a pretty good point in time here in Lombok. Now, I haven't gotten to Kuta yet, and I know that that's different, but so far up until this point, like, Lombok is just feeling really, really good, and totally different to Bali, never will be Bali, but a nice point in time. And I think because Lombok has so many good spots in it, and there's not that many people coming here still, it's going to take ages for it to build out. It seems though, especially in places like this, or the place I was at last night in Sekotong, like really nice places, but I mean, a place like that might be 20 years off, I reckon, getting developed. This maybe not so much. The guy on an electric bike just stopped by and had a bit of a chat with me for about 15 minutes there, telling me about all sorts of different things. And I said, oh, what about the rubbish situation? What do you reckon is going to happen with that? He said, well, the government does something every now and then, but there's a German guy by the name of Pat Thomas, and he's got some staff who he sends down there to clean up the beach every now and then. So it seems like a private effort to try and keep it under control, which is a bit sad, really. You would think that now that tourism's sort of starting to boom in these sorts of areas, the government would have a bit of money available to put staff down here. So as you remember in some of my previous videos, when there's a 10% tax added onto restaurant bills and cafe bills and that sort of stuff, that money goes to the government, the Kabupaten government, and then that money can be used for whatever they want, but usually they'll reinvest it into the area, or at least partially reinvest it into the area so that it improves the tourism offering. And then you can sort of grow your tax base, but maybe that's not sort of happening here yet. One of the reasons I said that Lombok does struggle in a little way to become as popular as Bali is because it has some similarities with some other brilliant places here in Indonesia, which are well known by tourism, but haven't really ever taken off. And one of those classic places is Batu Karas in Java, West Java, and you might have seen my video on that. That place is naturally beautiful. It looks like this in many places, it really does. The beaches are beautiful, great surfing. There's a little bit of a community of expats there that have built businesses, so you can get all your Western conveniences there, but it's still very quiet and it probably never will be really, really busy whilst ever there's no real good connections there. There is an aeroplane that goes there, but it's only a 9-seater. And apart from that, it's quite difficult to get there. A car and a driver is the best way. You can catch a train to a station that's a few hours away, that sort of thing. So that sort of gives me an idea that even if you've got a really good tourist offering, access is a really big deal, isn't it? I mean, you could even say that about places in Bali. I mean, even a place like Ahmed is still quite quiet after all these years, and it is an absolutely stunning, naturally beautiful spot, but it's just so quiet, especially if you go further east. So even when you've got, you know, easy flights, when you've got a 3-hour sort of or 4-hour drive to get to your destination after that, that causes a few problems. So that's sort of what I'm feeling here. But you never know. If there were direct flights coming in here from all over the world, this place would explode. So what do I recommend for the viewers out there that are thinking about coming to Selong Belanak? I'd say just do it. I think we're at a really good place in time right now. You'll come here, enjoy yourself. You might not need to stay here for a huge amount of time, but at least a few nights. And then if you want some even more comfort, I understand that Kuta is a lot busier and a lot more sort of developed, and you can go up there for a few nights as well, and then sort of get an idea of what you like here in Lombok, and then compare it to what you like in Bali. I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? You like Bali for a particular reason. Maybe you won't like this, but maybe you're the type of person that likes something a little bit more rustic, a little bit more rural, a little bit more, you know, down to earth. And that's certainly what we have here in spades in Selong Belanak. I really love it here. And I'm enjoying my time in Lombok. I'm actually going to go to Kuta on my next video, I think. I think that's where I'm headed next. Time's flying. Like, I've been here for like a little while now, and it just seems like every day, bang, something new, and I just feel like, yeah, I'm just learning so much about Lombok while I'm here. So thanks for coming along for the ride today, and thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sonora and the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time, and sampai jumpa.